So here we have Ginny coming in through the front door, and what I always do is always have her sit, and I just practice being calm through this doorway, through this main boundary. It's very important that she knows that she's supposed to be calm at the doorways. Okay. See, everything's very calm, and everything is, fun for her. It's not stressful. That's why she's calm. She's not stressed out. And then this is just the way we do it. See how I'm doing a little left turn to close the door, and then we're going to go straight over here to do this little mat exercise. Sit, and I have her sit there, and she sits right away, so she gets a little piece of natural balanced sausage, a little lamb and rice flavor. And with my right hand, I'm going to pat her chest and say, go to your mat. She's going to go over there, down, good. Right down on her mat. This is something we practice every day. Good. So as long as she stays on her mat, she gets rewards. And you start off very easily, just having her go on the mat, and then you walk around to different places. Always reward her from in front, like that. Good. Walking around, behind her, coming back in front. Good. Just a little taste of that food too, because it's not about huge amounts. At first, when you're just practicing walking to one part of the room and coming back, that's easy for her to do, so you want to give just little rewards. Once we start doing harder things, then when she's successful, we give her a bigger reward because it has to match what she's done. So in other words, you're not going to give her a huge piece of reward for sitting at the doorway. She sits at curbs and doorways and gateways, 20 times a day. But you do give her a good size reward when she does something that's difficult for her to do, or maybe she's done it for the first time. Good. So she's good with me walking. I'm just going to go over here, come back. So I've walked every part of the room. Good girl. She stayed down. If she'd gotten up at any time, I would have said no. Pick up the leash that's out here, pick it up by the handle. If she left the mat, I would have just stepped into her. Maybe I'd have to do a little circle like this and just lead her back, step on the leash like that and put her back. You just say no. You don't say down again or anything. You just say no, because this is about saying less. You don't say all the words you used to say, and you only say commands once, of course. So we say no, put her back, and since she knows how to play this game, all you have to do is do those moves, and her brain will say, oh, that's exactly the way the other person used to do it, and she'll click back in. So you have to just practice these moves, and you'll get this behavior. So she's been perfect, so I'm going to start doing things that are more difficult for her to handle. And one of them would be going back here in the back of the house, behind this doorway, and closing it. Knocking on the door like that. That's a doorway right behind her. That's not easy, but she can handle that. Good girl. I'm going to go out of the room here, out of her sight, into the kitchen, and come back. Very good. Good girl. So she's cool with me going anywhere in the house. Now I'm going to do something that's more difficult. I'm going to leave the house. She's going to be alone in here, and I'm going to knock on the door and ring on the doorbell. And if you're ever going to do something that's difficult for her to handle, it's okay for you to remind her before you do it what you want her to keep doing. So I'm going to say down before I go out here. Oh, she's still there. Very good. Crazy, crazy doorbell. Good. She gets a reward for staying there. Good girl. Very good. 2 rewards. Now I'm going to do something even harder. I'm going to bang on the windows too. Down. And ring the doorbell. And knock on the door. Good. Big reward. Double reward. Couple big pieces. Good girl. Very good. Hey, that was really special. So this exercise is really important because this teaches her focus. We've gradually built up her tolerance to stress, her tolerance to somebody knocking at the door, tolerance to hearing loud noises. Even in the beginning, a dog like her can't even stay in a downstay, on a mat or off the mat. When you walk away from her, they'll pop up. So we started there, and now we've worked up to the point where she kind of looks at it in a different way. I'm trying to trick her to get up, and if she gets up, she knows I'm just going to say no, pick up the leash, gently but firmly put her back. No reward. If she stays there, reward. If she makes a mistake 3 or 4 times in a row, we're just going to keep putting her back until she gives in, and then when she stays there, she gets a reward. Then we went through that period. Now she gets it. It's like, just stay there, no matter what happens, stay calm, get your reward, and then we're done. And she loves her mat, so good. This is a place where good stuff happens to her, so we always control her access on and off the mat, just like you see me doing. She has to sit and wait for permission to go to the mat, and she has to wait for permission to come off the mat. So it's a really important thing to do with her, even if it's just 3 to 5 minutes a day. And when she's perfect, like if she was going to stay longer with me, she's perfect in this spot, I would move the mat to a different part of the house. Big kitchen area, another big bedroom, something like that, because when you change the position of the mat and where it is, it bumps it up a notch in the difficulty level, and so it's a little bit harder for her to do things again. So when she's perfect, no, see that? I was hoping that, no, give her a little token pop like that, see how she got up? I was hoping that she would make a mistake if I talked long enough so I could show you what to do. Most of the time you say no from across the room and she'll just go back. Because for a while I said no, and I pick up the leash and I put her back. So now, when you say no from across the room, she knows how it goes and she just goes back herself. So that's just an example of how we're imprinting these new patterns of behavior. But anyway, move the mat to different locations. Do this little exercise in different places so that, see, she's getting up again. No. And she's kind of crooked. Okay. So I'm just going to reposition her to pretend like let's pretend she totally got up and tried to leave the mat. I'm just doing a little circle, putting her back, straighten her out on the mat. That's what you would do. And she was losing focus. Usually when I'm doing this exercise, I'm not talking like this. We're just doing it, then we're done. So that she kind of lost. She thinks that I've taken my attention off of her because I'm talking so much. So anyway, and now she made a mistake. I put her back, no reward. But now she's staying there and she's being super good. She kind of acts like somebody yelled at her. Good. So you always want to follow up a mistake with a success. So now that she's back exactly where I want her to be, and she stayed there, let a few moments pass. Good. Because you want this to be a good thing for her. Like you want her to be very happy and safe on this mat. But she has to just observe certain rules. As long as she does that, everything's cool. And what she learns on this mat and how she acts on this mat carries over to everything on the outside world. So this is kind of like the dog's meditation mat. 5 minutes a day, just doing the types of things you see me doing and whatever you can make up, and making sure she stays there. No, there's no crawling off the mat. Making sure she stays there and does this correctly. It's really important to how she reacts out on the street as well, because this builds up her tolerance to stress. It solidifies that proper relationship between you and her. You're orchestrating this whole thing. No, there's no getting up and moving. And I'm going to do one last exercise before we finish here. But this makes the relationship healthy between you and the dog. She knows you're the leader if you do this with her. Therefore, she's way more likely to feel safe out there in public and to behave for you out in public as well, because she feels safe and she knows that you're the person, you're the leader, you're the person that tells her what to do, because we do these kinds of things inside in the house. So the last exercise I want to do, because I saw her kind of crawling over to pick up food, and I'm going to use some chicken breast, and she loves the chicken breast, so I'll show you how to do this. So when I say down, it means to stay there. I'm going to put this piece of food here, and if she waits, see how she's not crawling over to get it? Good. So now I'm going to do it a little bit closer. Down, I'm showing her a piece of food. Down means to stay exactly where she's at, so she can't get up and go get this. See how she's looking back up at me? Good. She gets that reward. Each time I put a little bit closer, because I want her to make a mistake so I can show you. Down. It's even closer now. Good. See how she kind of thought about it, but then she's waiting for me to give it to her. Down. Really close, right on the edge of the mat now. She could easily get that. See how she's waiting? Good. Do this exercise, and if you want to start farther away, if she tries to get it, you're going to either block it with your foot and say no, or say no and pick it up, because she doesn't have that real solid relationship with you yet. But this is a great way to really give her the message, hey, everything good comes to her as long as she waits for it to come through you. And that takes a lot of self-control on her part to wait for the piece of chicken. Now I'm going to put her on the edge of the mat. Down, right there. Nope. See, she's still kind of skittish. Let's try it again. Down. See that? Good. Huge message to the dog. Hey, just wait for them to give it to me. Everything good happens. If I try to do it on my own before I'm given permission, it gets taken away and it takes longer to get it. So that's a really important little exercise to do with her, and it's a very effective exercise. Just kind of straightens everything out, and when she's doing that with you, you know that you're on the right track, that she perceives you as a leader, and she's very, very likely to feel safe with you in public and do everything you tell her to do, even in a stressful situation. So now I'm going to take her off the mat. I'm just holding the leash the regular way. I'm standing next to her with her on my left. I'm going to pat my leg and say, okay, come on, sweetie. Okay, come on.